Example number 12. Write the equation of a circle and find the center and radius from the figure if diameter is on -3, 3 and -3, -5. This is the given figure where the diameter is on -3, 3 and -3, -5. What we're gonna need here, this figure has been given, the diagram has been given, the graph of the circle has been given. We're gonna determine the equation of the circle and we'll find the center and radius from this diagram where the diameter of the circle is on -3, 3 and -3, -5. This is the diameter of the circle. When you look to this point, it is on -3 along x-axis, -1, -2 and -3, this point, and +3 along y-axis, 1, 2, 3. +3. This point is on -3 along x-axis and +3 along y-axis. Similarly, the other side of the diameter here ends at -3 along x-axis, -1, -2, -3, -3 along x-axis, and -5 along y-axis, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -5 along y-axis. These are the two ends of the diameter of the circle. First, we need to find the radius of the circle, and then the center of the circle, and then to write the equation of the circle. So what will be the radius of the circle? First, to determine the center of the circle, and then it will be easy to get the radius of the circle. If the diameter has been given, what we're going to need here, we're going to use the midpoint formula. It is the midpoint formula, which is m equals to x sub 1 plus x sub 2 over 2, comma, y sub 1 plus y sub 2 over 2. This is the mid formula here. What we are doing here, we're going to find the mid of the diameter here. So to find the mid of the diameter, we're going to use the midpoint formula. Just plug in the values of x sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 1 and y sub 2 to have -3 plus -3 all over 2, comma, -5 plus 3 all over 2. X sub 1 is -3. Plug x sub 1 equals to -3. X sub 2 is -3. Plug x sub 2 equals to -3. Y sub 1 is -5. Plug y sub 1 equals to -5. And y sub 2 equals to +3. Plug y sub 2 equals to +3 here, which is this one. Positive times negative will be negative. So -3 will be -6. -6 over 2 will be -3. -5 plus 2 will be -2. So -2 over 2 will be -1. Therefore, the center of the circle will be -3, -1. This is going to be the center of the circle. That's what we determined. Where the center lies here on -3, -1. -3 along x-axis like -1, -2, -3. And -1 along y-axis, -1. -1 along y-axis and -3 along x-axis. This is going to be the center of the circle. Now it is pretty easy for us to find the radius of the circle. Just count the points everywhere from the center up to the border of the circle. How many points the center is away? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This center is 4 points away everywhere from the border of the circle. Therefore, the radius of the circle will be 4. So r equals to 4. We got two things so far. One is the center of the circle, which is -3, -1. And the other is the radius of the circle, which is r. It equals to 4. Radius of the circle is 4. Now to write the equation of the circle, what will be the equation of this circle? The equation of the circle will be x minus into -3 to the whole 2 plus y minus into -1 to the whole 2 equals to 4 square, which equals to x plus 3 to the whole square plus y plus 1 to the whole square equals to 16. This is going to be the respective equation of the circle. Just plugging the values of h and k. The value of h is -3 here, and the value of k is -1. 4 to the 2 is 16. What we did, the diagram of the circle was given, and we had three objectives. One, to find the center of the circle, and then the radius of the circle, and then to write the equation of that circle. The diameter of the circle has been given, which is a -3, 3 and -3, -5. This is the diameter of the circle which has been given. So from the diameter of the circle we need a midpoint. To find a midpoint of the diameter we use the midpoint formula. M equals to x sub 1 plus x sub 2 over 2 comma y sub 1 plus y sub 2 over 2. I plugged the respective values. At the end I got -3 comma -1, which is the center of the circle. This is going to be the center. This midpoint is the center of the circle. -3 comma -1. -3 along x-axis and -1 along y-axis. Since we got the center of the circle, therefore it is pretty easy for us to find the radius of the circle, because just directly count the points from the center to the border of the circle. So when you count the points everywhere to the border of the circle, the center is 4 points away from the border of the circle. Therefore the radius of the circle is 4. We got the center of the circle, which is -3 comma -1, and then we got the radius of the circle, which is 4. And then we wrote the equation of the circle. How? From the equation of the circle, just plug in the values of h and k. The value of h is -3 and the value of k is -1. My r is 4. R equals to 4, so it will be 4 square. Remember, don't forget the square. Never put only 4. Put 4 square when it comes to the equation of the circle. It is always r square, not simply r. So 4 to the 2 will be 16. This is the respective equation of the circle. Center of the circle, radius of the circle, and equation of the circle. That's all. Example number 13. Write the equation of a circle, its center and radius, if the end points of the diameter are -1, 0, 3, 0. Again, the diameter has been given, which is a -1, 0 and +3, 0. We need to write the equation of the circle, its center and radius. How are we going to determine? We're going to determine from the given graph. But where is the given graph? If this is the given graph, where it is the diameter of the circle, it's exactly like the previous problem. The diagram has been given where the diameter is a -1, 0 and 3, 0. Look, this end of the diameter is a -1 along x-axis, -1, and 0 along y-axis, 0 along y-axis. The other end of the diameter is on +3 along x-axis, 1, 2, 3. And 0 along y-axis. Now the first thing is to determine the center of the circle. To find the center of the circle, we need the midpoint. To find the midpoint of this diameter, we're going to use the midpoint formula. The midpoint formula is this: m equals to x sub 1 plus x sub 2 all over 2, comma y sub 1 plus y sub 2 all over 2. Plugging the respective values, at the end you will get 1, 0. That's how we got the center of the circle. X sub 1 is 3, plug in 3 for the x sub 1. X sub 2 is -1, plug in x sub 2 equals to -1. Y sub 1 is 0, plug in y sub 1 equals to 0. Y sub 2 is 0, plug in y sub 2 is 0 as well. Positive times negative will be negative. So 3 minus 1 will be 2. 2 over 2 will be 1. So we'll have 1. And 0 plus 0 will be 0. 0 over something will be 0. So I will have 0 here. 1, 0 is the center of the circle. The center of the circle, 1, 0. So the center of the circle is h, k, which is 1, 0. This is the center of the circle here at 1, 0. It is the center of the circle. But what about the radius of the circle? Just count the point from the center up to the border of the circle everywhere. Like 1 and 2, 1, 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Everywhere this center of the circle is 2 points away from the border of the circle. Therefore, the radius of this circle will be 2. R equals to 2. So I can write that radius equals to R equals to 2. 2 is the radius of this circle. Now to write the equation of the circle, this is going to be the equation of the circle. Just plug in the values of h and k. Look, the equation of the circle is x minus h and y minus k. So the value of h is 1. Plug in h equals to 1 here, and the value of k is 0. Plug in k equals to 0 here. Y minus 0 will be y square only. This is going to be the respective equation of the given circle. Look, the radius of the circle is 2. So never put 2 only in the equation of the circle. It is always r square, remember. Don't do mistake here. If you simply put 2, your equation is wrong. It is not r, it is r square. So for the r square, you must put 2 square. If r equals to 2, you have to put 2 square. If r equals to 3, you have to put 3 square. Whatever value you have for the r, which is the radius, you're going to take it square. So 2 to the 2 will be 4. This is the equation. Again, the diagram was given, and we will need 3 things: the center of the circle, the radius of the circle, and the equation of the circle. The diameter was given here. So to find the midpoint, we got the midpoint by using the midpoint formula. What is the midpoint? Midpoint is actually the center of the circle. We use the midpoint formula to find the center of the circle. So the center of the circle we got here 1, 0. This is the center of the circle. And then we got the radius of the circle. How? We count from the center of the circle up to the border of the circle. Everywhere it is 2 points away from the border of the circle. So the radius r equals to 2. That's how we got the radius. We got the center of the circle, we got the radius of the circle, and then we got the equation. Just plugging the values of h and k. At the end you will get x plus 1 to the whole square plus y square equals to 4. This is the equation. We successfully got all the 3 things: center of the circle, radius of the circle, and equation of the circle from the given diagram.